Destiny 2's Season of Dawn introduced a new mechanic called Charged with Light, and it has far-reaching implications for all of the classes in the game. For today's video, we're going to use two of the exotics that Xur is currently selling, the Young Ahamkara Spine for the Hunter and the Hallowfire Heart for the Titan, and see how they interact with Charged with Light. Let's get started. Alright, the first thing we're going to look at is how the Charged with Light mechanic can enhance a playstyle. We're playing as the Gunslinger's middle branch, the Way of a Thousand Cuts, and we are using the Young Ahamkara Spine exotic gloves. Now before we go any further, it's important to understand how the Charged with Light system works. There are two components to it. There's a way to build charges of light, and there are ways to spend those charges. The builders are green, the spenders are yellow. So for my spender, I am using firepower. While Charged with Light, you regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use a grenade, and it consumes a single stack. Then if we go over to my helmet, we'll see that I am using Taking Charge. I become charged with a light by picking up an orb of light. Because I'm playing solo, I don't have any teammates and their supers to help generate orbs for me, but I do have a masterwork weapon to generate orbs on double kills. I'm also using Empowered Finish. I become charged with light when I finish an enemy, and it consumes 1/10 of my super. Consuming super energy can be a little bit, you gotta be careful about it because your super is a very important part of your kit, but because I am using Enhanced Ashes to Assets and the Young Ahamkara Spine, I don't feel concerned about using too much super energy. I'm going to be generating a lot of it, so I'm not worried about that. So now what we're going to do is head down to a lost sector and flow with our abilities and see how all of this stuff can work together. We're inside the Mercury Lost Sector Pariah's Refuge, and we're going to start breaking down the different components that are working for us right now. So the first thing I've got to do is become charged with light. And now that I am charged with light, when I throw my grenade, you'll see that I get a burst of cooldown reduction, and then when the grenade explodes, the Young Ahamkara Spine effect triggers. That's not enough to completely fill back my grenade, but if I use my throwing knives on another target, that will top me off the rest of the way. So again, we become charged with light, we throw out the grenade, boom, it explodes, we get that cooldown reduction. And if it's not enough to finish us all the way off, then we can throw our knives. Now, because of the way all of this stuff works, I don't need to become charged with light before every single grenade throw, because I generate a lot of cooldown reduction just from the abilities themselves. The charge with light is almost like an icing on the cake kind of thing, so I don't have to worry about it every single time I throw. But my next throw, because I picked up an orb, is going to be extra juicy, and that feels really good. And that's where I think the enhancing of a playstyle really comes into play. It makes an already incredibly powerful way of engaging with the game that much more powerful. Nearly blew myself up there, but we're okay. So now I'm fighting against a boss and I'm not charged with light, but I can still make use of the base level mechanics in the subclass, so I don't even have to really worry about not being charged with light. It's totally okay for me to not have to fish for charges of light. So let's throw down a grenade. Minotaur tried to blink out of it, but he didn't blink far enough. Unfortunately, he blinked out of the trip mine, but these other goblins are going to step into it and take some damage from it. And I am charged with light again, so my next grenade throw is going to be extra juicy. Boom, bang, and there we go, cooldown reduction. It feels very nice to manipulate these mechanics. And when you're playing with other teammates who are also generating orbs for you, it's much easier to maintain that charged with light status. And you'll notice I didn't even use a finisher in there except on the boss, so I wasn't taking full effect of all the systems I have to generate charges of light. But it's a lot of fun and it's incredibly powerful. So if you're in environments where you can reasonably push up and play around the orbs, then this particular setup is very good for you. But there are other ways to generate charges of light that don't put you in such a precarious situation. Unfortunately, I don't have those means available to me yet, but soon enough I will have them. Stuff like quick charge, become charged with light by rapidly defeating multiple enemies with fusion rifles or shotguns. They've got one for snipers and linear fusion rifles. They've got one for grenade launchers and rocket launchers, and those are all going to be really easy and convenient ways for you to generate those charges of light for the spenders without having to run around and collect orbs. But honestly, collecting orbs is something that happens incredibly organically, especially if you're playing with a team. Now what we're going to do is switch over to the Titan, and instead of looking at how to enhance a playstyle, we're going to look at a way that the charged with light mechanic can create its own playstyle. So let's go ahead and switch. For the Titan, I'm playing as the Sunbreaker's top branch, the Code of the Fireforged. This is a very powerful subclass branch, but within all of its abilities, it doesn't have any ways to reduce its own cooldowns, so it feels very slow. So what we're going to do to speed things up is combine the Hallowfire Heart exotic chess piece and its perk Sunfire Furnace with the heavy-handed mod. This one is very expensive. It costs 7 energy, but the effect is ridiculously potent. When charged with light, you regain half of your melee energy when you used a charged melee ability, and this consumes 1 stack of charged with light. And just like last time, I am using the Taking Charge mod, so whenever I pick up an orb of light, I become charged with light. Now, because I'm using the Hallowfire Heart, I don't want to spend my super energy, so I'm not using Empowered Finish. The first thing that I'm going to want to do, of course, is get my charge with light. And what I want to do is never use my melee ability unless I am charged with light, because that 50% cooldown reduction that we get from using our melee ability while charged with light is huge. And unlike with the Hunter, where I was spending my grenades so frequently, it's going to be very easy for me to always have charges of light available to me to spend. So right now I have 2 charges. I've still got 1 left. So while my melee ability is cooling down in the background, I'm good to go. Let's just deal with this Shrieker and then move on to the rest of the area. Now, for right now, I'm using my melee ability to dump truck on some red bar enemies, and that's honestly overkill, but in a little bit we're going to see why having so much access to my melee ability is valuable. In this lost sector, there are wizards that constantly spawn that I have to kill, and having the ability to just dump truck on them with Hammer Strike is going to be very nice. The wizard should spawn. There it is. I've got my Hammer Strike ready. We hit him, and then we go in for the finisher. And I'm still charged with light because I'm constantly getting those double kills and picking up my own orbs, so I'm always ready to send out another melee ability. So we've created a gameplay loop from a subclass branch that doesn't normally have one. And that feels pretty amazing. That's why I think this mechanic is so cool, and I don't imagine enough people are really using it to its fullest potential and experimenting enough with just how potent it can be. Whoops, I missed my shot there. I'm missing too many shots. It feels bad. It's kind of embarrassing. Now, thankfully, we made an orb right before the wizard spawned, so we can go in and hit it and then finish it off right away, because our Hammer Strike, it's not enough to kill, but it's enough to get it to that critical health point. And then we just continue flowing with it. This is a very, very nice flow, and it's made even better by some mods on my class item that I didn't even talk about. So I'm going to take cover for just a second and go into the menus real quick to show you. I am using Absolution. It reduces all of my ability cooldowns each time I pick up an Orb of Light, so that's going to help get that melee back a little bit quicker. And then better already, your health begins to regenerate when you pick up an orb. So that's going to make me a bit more durable while I'm running around being reckless. And one thing that you probably noticed is that once my super filled up, it was a little bit harder for me to maintain charged with light, and that's because of the way the Sunfire Furnace works. When my super is charged, my abilities regenerate faster. But all that means is I have to be a bit more conscious of when I use my hammer strike, and in a more difficult environment like a 980 Nightfall, I'm not going to be hammer striking red bars. I'm going to save it for champions, for major enemies, and just having a charge of light available every time a major enemy is around is going to be phenomenal. To wrap things up, if you don't have the Young Ahamkara Spine or the Hallowfire Heart, Xur is on Nessus in the Watcher's Grave right now, and you can pick them up for some legendary shards. And also, if you are not interacting with the charged with light mechanic, then why not? Ask yourself, why am I not making use of these incredibly powerful mods? They are expensive, so you do have to make some concessions in different areas of your build, but you gain tremendous benefits for doing so, so it winds up being worthwhile. It's a very fun way to engage with the game, and I'm looking forward to trying other ways to engage with the mechanic as more mods come out for it and as I experiment with different exotic armor pieces. So with all of that said, we're going to wrap things up here, but don't worry, there's plenty more Destiny 2 coming very soon. I'm having a lot of fun with the Season of Dawn, and I am ready to dive even deeper into all of the different systems that they have available. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel more than you already do just by watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting, you can head over to patreon.com/iBluairJgR to become a patron. As always, the name of the game is Destiny 2. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.